Sound check. Sound check. Sound check. Hey, 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 hey. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready to... I don't know. I'm done. Hey. Well, what's up, everybody? Happy Friday to ya. Happy random Friday advocacy fundraiser contest giveaway stream with myself and... Look at little Alex Clark right here. Hang on. This is unacceptable. Hey, Alex Clark from CASAA. How are you doing, Alex Clark from CASAA?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. I don't know. I just call you Alex Clark from CASAA. That's just a thing, I guess.
That works.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome, Alex Clark. How's it? How? I feel like we see each other passing on social media without any real substance. But how's things in Alex Clark's world?
It's busy and it's cold, as I'm sure a lot of folks out there. It's cold, but we're finally getting normal winter over here, and first few weeks of the year, I guess, and everything's getting crazy.
Yeah, well, and nothing says let's get active and do some advocacy like dreary, depressing, bleak cold snow winter awfulness.
I mean, it's not like you're going to go out and,
Yeah,
catch some
that's true.
rays or,
That's true.
hang out at the
Maybe
beach. So
this
while
weather
you're, yeah,
actually more conducive.
while you're huddled around your phone or your laptop, it's a great time to send messages and make phone calls.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, 100%. In fact, I don't have any graphics on the screen. Let's put that there. That's a QR code for the national call to action. I think it is. Can someone test that? I think it's a QR code for the national call to action for the national tax. And that's honestly the national tax. I'm worried, Alex, that not enough people are worried about the national tax.
Well, we're because of the dysfunction in Congress, we're getting kind of a reprieve
Right.
from this. They've got to focus. It seems every 2 or 3 months on keeping the government open and functioning.
Sure, yeah.
So, things like this. I mean, this has been Dick Durbin's pet project for I don't know 5 or 6 years now, and he just keeps reintroducing this ridiculous. It's supposed to be tax parity with cigarettes, but when you actually look at the math, it's much higher than what would be imposed on cigarettes. So it's a ridiculous tax, and certainly I think it's great if people are communicating with their lawmakers. Most importantly, telling your story. All of the letters that we have pre-written are editable, and we encourage people to include your story. That's
Yeah,
probably one of the most important things. I know people don't think that stuff matters, but personal stories really do go a long way toward educating lawmakers and helping them realize that there are real people on the other side of this issue.
sure.
Even though at the moment, we've got kind of bigger threats at the state levels, it's good for people to always, keep this sort of front of mind for their lawmakers.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's true. I was kind of thinking the same thing that does this thing really have any legs? Like I feel like Dick Durbin's been trying to punish vaping or tax vaping or something, something like this for a while. I don't know. I feel like it
Yeah.
doesn't. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. There's been too many surprises over the last few years. I can't feel like I can't ever make any predictions anymore with what's going to go through or what's not or what has legs and what doesn't because it's bananas. It's bananas out there. Well, what's up? Sorry, what's up, everybody in the chat? I got sidetracked by the national vape tax. Hope everything looks okay. Hope everything sounds okay. Does it sound like I'm behind a wall, just Josh? Can anybody else confirm that? I'm not having audio issues tonight. But we're here to talk about advocacy, to talk about what's going to be going on this year, and we're going to have some contests, and we're going to be donating money to CASAA. We're going to make a donation to CASAA because CASAA is grassroots, 100% volunteer funded, right? Like that's it. That's the donations.
I changed my microphone. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, you sound good.
Fantastic. I'm trying to get it on this one and not my camera. We take donations from all kinds of sources. Right now, the donations that we get from individuals, the way we look at it is it kind of falls short of actually paying for the digital advocacy platform that we use.
Sure.
If I were to quantify the amounts of donations we get in, so monthly we're getting about half of what we need from individual members to at least keep that part of our work going.
Right. The basic function of like calls to actions, like the very important, the basic function.
Right.
Yeah.
It's and that's just the way it's been since probably 2016, 2017. We've seen donations declining. And I understand, I've even seen a couple comments float by on the chat here. People are tired. People are just worn out with all of this.
Dude.
I understand it. I know you've been doing this stuff for longer. I've been doing this for 10 years. And I I think 2019 was sort of I'm still kind of recovering from the whole lung injury debacle.
Yeah. I still feel hungover
And,
from EVALI. Yeah.
and I refuse to use that acronym. It is wildly inaccurate, and it's part of CDC's malfeasance in this area. So I just call it
THC volley. Who did the paper? Kenneth Warner and a bunch of people got together and wrote the CDC and said, you should really change the name of this because the name of this isn't accurate. And CDC was like, no. But the name that they had picked out was something like THC volley.
Yeah, T-volley or something like that. Yeah, it's good to at least acknowledge that it wasn't nicotine. I just talk about it as the lung injury cases from 2019. I don't mind having to spit out a bunch of extra words.
Yeah.
It's better than shortening things and being wildly inaccurate.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Oh, yeah, super chats are on. I never turned them off. I never turned super chats off. There's never an obligation to super chat. But yeah, like you said, we've been advocacy. We've been hammering advocacy for years and years and years and years and years. It's the least fun. It's the least fun part of vaping, And it's like I compare advocacy to politics. Like, I like to say that, yeah, politics is super dumb, but really important. It's super dumb, but really important. Advocacy, it's not super dumb. It's really important. But it's not fun. It can be fun, I guess. I shouldn't talk so bad about advocacy. Let's make advocacy fun, Alex.
It can be fun. And I don't want to romanticize or, reminisce on the old days, but it was fun to go to, the conventions and vape meets and do panels.
Yeah.
And, even if like a lot of people didn't show up, I mean, this has been going on for a long time. We thought, I remember going to ECC, I think in 2015 it was 2015. I think that was the crazy one in, Ontario, California.
Yeah.
Like it was so huge. They had to open up some overflow site. And,
overflow site. I was out in the overflow area as well. I didn't even get to like the main hall that year. I was out in the overflow area nonstop.
It was nuts. And, but even then, we thought, hey, this is a big crowd. We're going to set up this advocacy panel. We're going to have everybody from all the associations come. And, for the, I don't know, thousands of people who were there, we might have had like 50 people show up to listen. And, it wasn't even something where they like cut the music in the main room. It was
right.
So it's been fun to get out and talk to people and go to these things. And, and somebody will always come up to the table and say, thank you. And, grateful that you're here and doing what you're doing. And that, that means a lot, even if it's one or two people at a convention with thousands of people coming through.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of good experiences going to states and kind of going to lawmakers' offices with, the state trade groups, and being able to represent, their consumers and give our side of this issue to lawmakers. I used to like travel, not so much anymore.
No.
But it can be fun, but
it can be.
The downside is that we do have to kind of wade into the politics of stuff, and that's just that's kind of gross nowadays.
It is. It's gross. It's weird. And, honestly, what I try to do is I try to be real diplomatic, and I focus on, look, my loyalty is to vaping, right? As far as GrimmGreen is concerned, as far as this YouTube is concerned, personal politics aside, I'm concerned about vaping. I'm concerned about harm reduction. So regardless of how literally anybody feels about Ron DeSantis, I do not care. Don't give a shit what you think about Ron DeSantis. I've heard him say vaping is harm reduction for people who smoke cigarettes. Period.
Yeah.
Period. And that is a good thing that some people won't celebrate because they feel icky because someone you dislike said something that you agree with or something actually really smart. It's weird. It's a weird area to navigate. But I think like remaining loyal to vaping and to harm reduction, you know, and I've been a third party voter my whole life. I'm a libertarian, so it's easy to just shirk off both sides and go, well, this is actually really what I care about, you know. I don't know. You have to be diplomatic, and I think that harm reduction and vaping are more important just in general to me than like partisan politics and things like that. But, you know, it's right. You have to dip your toes into weird things and talk to people you might not expect to, I guess.
Yeah. And I do, you know, I still hold on hope that like this is one of those issues that can sort of bridge the political divide. I mean, smoking affects everybody, regardless of political persuasion. So it makes sense for both sides to come together and adopt a harm reduction approach here. And it's good for everybody's voters. And I think, you know, anything we can do to inject more humanity into our political discourse, I think is a good thing. So, and yeah, you know, I'm glad that Governor DeSantis has been good on this issue, and it's great for Florida. I wish that other governors would pay attention. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm watching bill numbers and stuff float by here. Florida has an active call to action. I watched a little bit of your stream last night, and I saw you promoting that.
Florida does,
well.
yeah.
I don't know if we want to jump into it now, but at some point we should talk about these PMTA registry bills. And
we should talk about these PMT registry bills. Let's see, it's 314. Yeah, sure. I was just going to say, I don't know if all of these are PMTA registry bills, but according to recent data, aka the CASAA Twitter X account, there's active call to actions for the national vape tax in Indiana, in Washington State, Snoho Vape and Brew, Virginia, Florida, California, Vermont, Ohio, and Michigan. That's a lot right in January.
Yep, right out of the gate.
Right out of the gate, that's a lot.
I'm queuing up my notes here because I feel like it's almost every day this week has been working on stuff. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on. Colorado, I think, is looking at a bill that takes away preemption. So if that passes, that's Senate Bill 22. I don't think I haven't put a call to action up for that yet. It's a little early, but that may move swiftly along. That's basically allowing counties to establish their own tobacco and nicotine bans. So that would local bans. I'm frozen on the monitor.
Yeah, you're
I'm coming back.
Your internet. Can we donate money to CASAA to get Alex some decent internet?
No. I have decent internet. I pay extra for better internet. This is what I get for choosing Spectrum.
That is what you get for choosing Spectrum, actually. That is what you get.
But yeah, all of those things that you listed, they are different from state to state. But Virginia, Washington, Florida, Indiana just had a PMTA registry bill. So those are all PMTA registry. And as you know, the practical effect of that is a flavor ban. If that's what it takes to motivate people to get involved, this is a flavor ban. It's even worse than a flavor ban.
Yeah, it's actually worse than a flavor ban.
Yeah. It's everything that hasn't received authorization from FDA. I haven't looked at every single one of these bills with, in granular detail. Sometimes you'll have a provision that says, any kind of authorization from FDA is acceptable. So if you've submitted your application, then you're okay for a year.
Right.
Other cases like New York State, you have to have gone all the way through and been granted marketing orders from FDA. There's no provisional authorization, in New York's language. So tends to vary, but at the end of the day, it's if you like a tobacco flavored something that hasn't gotten PMTA, then that's going off the market too.
Yeah, or if you like bottled e-liquid, that I think that more than anything would be a big motivator. Is if you like bottled e-liquid, that would be, if a PMTA registry bill happens in Florida, all of the vape shops in Florida, they're just going to have contraband on their shelves. They'll probably be allowed to sell it off, and then after that, only be able to stock PMTA registered products.
I don't know how you keep a vape shop open selling Enjoys and Fuses.
No, and Fuses? No.
Yeah.
No bottled e-liquid, just Enjoys and Fuses, and then that's it.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as Australia. But it's still pretty bad. It's still real bad.
Yeah. But somebody's just finding out that New York has got a flavor ban. Yes. And hopefully that speaks to the uselessness of the law, in that everybody is still selling flavored products under the table. I know of convenience stores around here where you can walk in and basically ask for the menu, or they just have it posted at the point of sale. But yeah, I know that someone else was sort of talking about maybe, how this conversation doesn't go anywhere, but we can push back against this. There's nothing obligating states to carry water for the FDA. This is how cannabis legalization has happened. States have been making their own decisions about enforcing drug laws. They can make their own decisions about enforcing, on behalf of FDA. So, one of the things I've been writing into, some of this engagement copy is, for example, Virginia doesn't need to carry water for the FDA. FDA's got a bad regulatory scheme on its hands, and Virginia doesn't have to be complicit in this. Neither does Florida or Indiana or Washington State. They can stand up and say, we're going to handle this ourselves. We're going to protect our small businesses and public health and allow these people to continue buying stuff from their favorite vape shop. And it doesn't take away any kind of, potential enforcement action. We've seen FDA going after retailers, especially online retailers. But it makes it harder for FDA to take these products away from people. And so, pushing back on these policies is absolutely vital. And I'll, cop to, one thing for sure. We're not working on a silver bullet policy here for anybody. But the strategy all along has been delay. And we're still trying to do that. We're trying to hold back a flood of bad policy. And so the more we can delay this, the more people quit smoking, the more people switch to vaping, and we get more data, more evidence. There's already a lot out there. I'm one of these people who, like, my mind's made up. I switched to these products. I quit smoking. I want everybody else to have the same opportunity. But, lawmakers and other policymakers and regulators, they want to see just mountains and mountains of evidence before they're going to be convinced. Meanwhile, they're out there trafficking in anecdotes and, emotional hooks like, the children. But kids are actually doing pretty well when it comes to nicotine and tobacco right now.
Yeah, I feel like they're doing pretty okay. No smoking? Nobody smokes anymore. Nobody's celebrating that anymore.
Youth use of cigarettes is like 2% nationally.
Yeah, it's nothing.
That is technically, we are looking at the first smoke-free generation.
Yeah, technically. Yeah. Technically, by any metric, by the World Health Organization's metric, by any metric, we're looking at a smoke-free generation.
Yeah,
that's impressive. Like, that's impressive regardless of bad legislation or flavor bans and things like that and all the nonsense we had to deal with, because that's proof in the pudding right there.
Yeah, and the uncomfortable thing to point out is vaping and the availability of smoke-free alternatives had a role to play in that.
It would be foolish to think otherwise.
Right. And I know that's uncomfortable for people because we are not actually promoting these products to, people under the age of 18 or 21, depending on which state you're in. The federal minimum legal purchase age is 21 now, but, it's just having this conversation, I think, has been really helpful in, further cementing in people's minds that smoking is deadly. And it's just, this has been going on since 1964. More and more people have come to accept and realize that smoking is dangerous, and we don't really want to spend our money and our time and our health on a product like that. And kids have certainly gotten the message. So, the good news is that this is happening faster than anybody anticipated.
Yeah, it really is. Well, New Zealand, Sweden, it's crazy. Like, Sweden's about to become a smoke-free country. I've been trying to promote the shit out of that. Nobody seems to care. It's like, we're just ignoring Sweden. Smoke-free country. How'd they get there?
I don't know that Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids can fundraise off of successes they had nothing to do with. So I guess that's why NBC and CNN don't really care about it.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, here's the thing, Alex Clark. We're gonna do a contest. Here's the thing. I'm encouraging everybody to donate some money to CASAA. Whatever you can donate, it really helps. Really very helpful. I finally, this isn't just to, this is to encourage people, not to toot my own horn, but I finally set up like a monthly reoccurring donation to CASAA. I don't know what took me so long. I would donate randomly. We'd have fundraisers randomly, but I never had a monthly donation set up. And it was just one of those, it was late night. I'm like, enough is enough. Here we go. So and now I don't even have to think about it. I know that I'm helping fund CASAA, and I'm helping fight for our rights, and I'm helping fight for the rights of others. And, that's how grassroots movements work, man. Not to sound too much like a hippie, but that's how it works. And it's slow and it's grinding, and you have to be, I used to say you have to be relentless. Like, you have to be ruthless. You just have to keep plugging away, and it's terrible. And like Red says here, I wish we had a CASAA in Norway, to a group that really could be the spokesman for vapors here. Yeah, Norway they got nothing. They're just like, flavor ban? Okay, flavor ban. Just quickly passed through this flavor ban. They had no pushback, no nothing, no advocacy organizations. We need to be thankful for CASAA, but we need to keep CASAA around. So yeah, I'm going to tell you to donate some cash to CASAA, and you'll help me out. You'll help CASAA out. You'll have so much street cred. You'll have so much street cred in my eyes. It's not even funny. So much street cred. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a lot of calls to actions right now for January.
Yeah.
And are there not all PMTA registries?
Not all of them. Vermont, like I said, is a flavor ban.
Right.
We're looking at I call it an anti-preemption bill in Colorado. But if people need a helpful way to think about that, just think about that as local flavor bans. Mm-hmm. We got some taxes on deck here. I don't know how serious some of these are. Virginia's got several bills. I got a couple of them that would be taxes. Flavor ban stuff is also, one of the things that we've seen over the years is, of course, lawmakers don't seem to have any appreciation for nuance or complexity when it comes to these products. They just want to deal, with, broad language and just take care of everything all at once. And so if you are a fan of nicotine pouches, those are also going to be swept up in a lot of these flavor ban bills. So nothing is safe. They're coming after everything.
Nothing is sacred. They just want cigarettes to be for sale.
They don't even want that.
They don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate it all, Alex Clark. It doesn't make any sense.
It's tough, it doesn't get any easier. And like I said earlier, I feel like I've had my mind made up for years. I know that there's a benefit here, and it continues to be remarkable how hard we have to fight to save our own lives.
Yeah. 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 It's bananas. It's bananas. And I understand science and anecdotes and things like that, but man, I'm sick of being just an anecdote. It's like, yeah, well, we got, 80 million anecdotes now around the world who all quit smoking with vaping,
And on top of that, I'll add, there is research ongoing. It's not anecdotes anymore. We have large sample sizes that are being used to do research. I know Ricardo Pelosa has been doing a longitudinal study looking at, how vaping affects lung function. I can't remember if that one dealt specifically with people with COPD and monitoring improvements, or seeing this is like 3-6 year long type study.
Yep.
So the data's out there, and it's just a matter of people getting the funding to do the research, and then for people to take it seriously. The problem I keep seeing is whenever we see a good study released, it seems that, I guess this is just sort of the nature of peer review, and I don't know for certain that this level of corruption is happening, but people at journals review these articles before they publish them. That's how peer review works.
Yep.
And so they actually do have kind of a heads up about what's coming. And so if there is somebody with a bias against these products and harm reduction strategy, they could very easily turn to another researcher and say, hey, now's the time for you to publish that story, or we're going to run this story, and they'll run it a couple days in advance. There's just the timing on some of these releases is way too close, and I think what a lot of any good propagandist knows, that if you can sort of get out in front and set the narrative, it's all that more difficult for the truth, for people who are telling the truth, to kind of wind back that misleading narrative about harm and danger and all that stuff. I mean, you can just sort of plug in whatever words and studies you want to plug in there, and I think that's what they do. So I don't even know how I got. Oh, we were talking about anecdotes, and
anecdotes.
One of the things I do want to promote while we're here is, every year we help to administer the e-cig intelligence vaping survey.
Oh yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And that's for the U.S. And we've sent out a couple of emails. So if you're a CASAA member, definitely double check your emails and make sure you've taken that survey. This is a way for this is a sort of what do you call it, fee for service type of thing that we're able to do. And this is the first year that if we reach a certain threshold, we will get paid for helping with the survey. And so
nice.
It's important on a couple of levels. That information is being used to, obviously, e-cig intelligence does a good job of crunching those numbers and making an expensive resource industry survey FDA pays attention to.
Do they really? So they pay attention to the e-cig intelligence.
Yeah, I mean, and it's another source of data that they can use to make decisions and take the pulse of what people are actually using and being successful with. So it's a good idea to participate in that. The more participants, the better. And that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Let's. I really want to get to this contest, so there's gonna be 3 hopefully before the end of the stream. We've been going for about a half hour. First, let me say that there's a super chat from the Face Meat, who says, if I can take time to say something other than dry oatmeal, you can take the time to send a few bucks to CASAA and answer the calls to actions. Hell yeah, Face Meat. Hell yeah. Face Meat, he's pretty famous in our circles, you see. He usually just comes in and says dry oatmeal, and everyone goes, oh, dry oatmeal. But if he can take the time to say something other than dry oatmeal, you can take the time just to send a few bucks to CASAA, here or there, whatever you think something like this contest would be worth. Let me tell you what the contest recipient would be receiving. I won't show you everything, but inside this box that you, the viewer, might be able to receive if you get your email and fingers ready. Get those email and fingers ready. You're going to email contest@grimmgreen.com. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. Oh, hang on. Yep, not yet. For some reason, this email account has a non-dark mode. Oh, there it is.
I can answer a question that floated by while you're.
What you vaping there, Alex Clark?
What I vape. I don't vape anymore. I actually switched completely to nicotine pouches.
Yeah,
over the past few years.
Yeah, I remember we talked about this a few years, like it was probably 2 years ago, or you were on like a Tuesday Bro Tuesday years ago, and we talked about how, you're a poucher now.
Yeah, I'm a poucher.
What's your pouch du jour? What's your favorite?
Well, one thing I picked up from vaping was liking to mix up the flavors. So I got I'm on the 8 milligram coffee flavor.
Oh, coffee. That's a good one.
Zin cinnamon in 6 because they don't go up to 8. It's not the best cinnamon, honestly. Rogue, if anybody likes Rogue pouches, they have hands down the best cinnamon flavor in a pouch I've tried so far.
Rogue cinnamon. All right. I'm going to need some pouch recommendations. The only pouch recommendation I have is that I don't know where we were. I don't know where we were. I think I was in Ohio. We were at a yo-yo meetup in Ohio. We were at a Patreon meetup in Ohio. Final answer. And we were going to Kennywood, which is a theme park, and I wanted snus for at a theme park. It's one of the times I really like to use snus is in theme parks, traveling. I mean, I use it pretty frequently, but I stopped at a 7-Eleven, and the only snus they had was Skoal. Skoal wintergreen snus. So I went, Skoal wintergreen snus. Great. It was so good. I loved it. They were big, puffy, really moist pouches. The flavor was really good. I like tobacco flavors though, so I have just regular tobacco snus. But this Skoal wintergreen, my lord, it was so good. So good.
Yeah, they're good. Okay. I've had I think the smooth mint, or there's a couple mints at the shop up the street from me.
I love them.
But I've just gotten to a point where I actually prefer the smaller pouches now. I don't know how that happened, but
look, everyone has their own journey, Alex. Everyone has their own path. Does everybody have their email fingers ready? Because the first box all of the prizes in all of these boxes, of which there are 3, have been curated by this community, by people in this community. Everybody's thrown stuff in, and then I'm throwing stuff in at the end. And I still have some recoils and Type 2s. In fact, I might throw the Type 2 in the number 3 box. Yep. So in the first box is a stainless steel vape shell for Boro, a Robin's Egg Rev 4 billet box, 2 sets of Mums panels, an iconic RDA, a 1 of 2 etched Grimm Army pint glass, a Death Wish Mods, stacked tube mech, and an RDA, and a Type 2 RTA. That's a lot of prize. That's a silly amount of prize. I might even throw some liquids in there, too. I might even throw some coils in there, too. Thank you, Ern. Contest@grimmgreen.com. Answer in the subject line. The trivia, though, is going to be... it's going to be for people who have watched this YouTube before. I'm assuming I see at most everybody in the chat. I recognize like 99% of you. So the questions are going to be related to that. I'm going to kick Alex out for a second so I can show you this slick billet box. in Robin's Egg Blue. Yeah, it's pretty rad.
It's pretty.
I was going to say, oh, it got lost, and then now I have it. But I wouldn't do that. Of course not. So, contest at GrimmGreen.com. Answer in the subject line. I feel like this is an unfair question. This is a really GrimmGreen centric question. These are kind of arrogant. These are kind of like arrogant, self-centered questions about me. But if you're on my YouTube, then I'm gonna force you to answer questions about me. I'm gonna test your loyalty. You know. I'm just kidding. These are just the 3 questions I could think of this morning before the stream. What's my favorite Clutch song? I've talked about my favorite band Clutch a lot, profusely on this YouTube, all over these live streams. And I do have a favorite Clutch song. And I know someone out there knows it. And I have a feeling I'm just going to see a flurry of Clutch song titles. People are just going to be stabbing in the dark, and that's okay, because that's part of being in a contest. That's what makes it skill-based. Who's the fastest Googler? You know? You know? So?
I have a Clutch song that ends up in my YouTube rotation. I don't know if it's your favorite, but
oh, really? Oh no, don't say the title yet, because what if it is my favorite?
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything.
What if it is my favorite? You can.
I don't even know if I know the proper title.
Well, look, I wanted them to be a little bit difficult of a questions, but not too difficult. The other ones, this one's kind of a little bit easier. The other one's about Star Wars, so you can't say every Clutch song. You can't say every Clutch song. Aaron, I appreciate you trying. He just said, I don't know. I don't know. But what is my favorite Clutch song? The first correct answer is going to win this box. And even like the stuff in here, I would just be typing every Clutch song I could think of or Googling Clutch songs and just sending them to me, like spamming them. Not that I'm telling you to do that, but for this prize, I mean, I feel like that's a thing. I don't know. Now, it's not The Mob Goes Wild. It's not Space Grass, not Maggots, not Electric Worry, but that's a good song. Put it on the Clutch. It's not Elephant Riders. It's not The Devil in Me. It's not 100011101. That's a song. Animal Farm, Electric Worry. Can't Hear You. That's not funny. The one you're listening to right now, Space Grass, Quick Get Death in Texas, like it like that. Nope. Electric Worry, Space Grass. Sucker for the Witch, Regulator. Nope. Maggots. Nope. Nope. It's too obscure. It's too obscure of a song, Alex. Nobody's going to get this. I think this is too difficult of a it's a deep cut.
I was going to say Quick Death in Texas. That's the one that keeps showing up.
Quick Death in Texas is a good song. And that is one of my favorite albums.
Yeah.
Nope. Not Regulator, not Elephant Riders, not 50,000 Watts. Not Drink to the Dead, not Animal Farm, not Space Grass, not Hot Bottom Feeder, not Sucker for the Witch, not Crucial Velocity, but that's a great song. Here's what I'm gonna say. Elephant Riders is close. Elephant Riders is close. And this contest would be a lot more exciting. I used to have like reality TV style hold music, like who's gonna get eliminated type of music. But every time I play it, YouTube flags the video and then it gets demonetized, and so the contest used to be a lot more fun. Nah. Crucial Velocity, nope. Nope. Careful with the mic, nope. Not Big News, not Big News 2, not Got Bottom, not Son of Virginia, not Duke's Mayo. Shogun Named Marcus. Nope, not Big News, Binge and Purge, Mob Goes Wild, Regular. Maybe this question's too hard. I can't.
You can't. It's not fair if you're picking like, a B-side from their demo.
No, I'm not. It's on a major release. And it's a high cut. It's within the top 4 songs on the album.
everybody's Googling top 4
Yeah.
Clutch album
So far,
A-side.
songs. Let's see. So far, nobody's got it. Firebirds, energy weapons. Release the Kraken, Burning Beard. No, that's a good song. Oh, 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 oh. There's a winner. There's a winner. There's a winner. Someone got it. Someone got it. Someone mother trucking got it. Congratulations. Hang on. Let me reply to this person. Okay, I'm going to reply to this person just so it's on the record. This is it. The person, the song, let me tell you the answer first. The song, my favorite Clutch song ever, is on the Elephant Riders album. You guys were so close. I saw Elephant Riders like 19 times. And I started second guessing, like, is my favorite song Elephant Riders? No. It's track 4 on the Elephant Riders, The Soap Makers. That is the Clutch song of all Clutch songs. I just like it. The Soap Makers. And the person who got it is, it's either Arundel or also David. Arundel or David. I've replied to you. I replied to you. And then make yourself known in the chat. And I'll even play you my winner music. Oh, wait. Hi, hi, hi. Hi, hi, hi. Congratulations, David or Arundel, the Soap Makers. You got it. The Soap Makers. Phew, you got a billet box on the way. You got a vape shell on the way. You got mums panels. That's awesome. Congratulations. All in the name of advocacy. All in the name of CASAA. All in the name of defending our rights and the rights of others, which I feel is a pretty noble thing to do, if you ask me. You know?
Agreed.
I'm proud of what we do, Alex Clark. I take great pride in being an advocate and trying to get people to quit smoking cigarettes. It's like the only thing, it's like the only cause I've ever had in my life. You know, I was a shiftless Gen X layabout. I had no real drive to do anything. I didn't have a cause. I just wanted to be left alone and wear flannels and, you know, whatever. But this is a good cause, and it's the only cause I've ever really had. And it's, I like it. I think it's cool.
Yeah, you know, it was similarly. I was shiftless for a while. In college, I had a lot of steam. You know, wanted to get out there and save the world. That ended spectacularly. And then after I went through rehab, got out the other side and learned a lot there, and then quit smoking by switching to vaping. Oh, what, you know, the forces again. It's insane. It was absolutely insane. It was just that moment of like, this cannot stand.
Yeah.
I have to at least start, you know, typing. I don't know. I got to start participating somehow.
Yeah.
And it's led to this, which is kind of crazy to think about, but here we are.
This is your path, Alex. I believe that. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. And it's good. Despite everything, it's still good. And I think it's important. Yeah, shout out to rehab. And, you know, that's not an uncommon story that you hear in the vape space of, I mean, that something very similar to that, where XYZ, they got, you know, sober, went through rehab, and now they just vape, you know, and that's one of the things that helps, you know, keep people's brains occupied and keep your hands busy and things like that. And people find a lot of benefit in it. It's much, much more than just nicotine, you know. I think it's, there's a type. If you think about, we were all kind of just people who smoked cigarettes. Really, I mean, at the end of the day, thankfully we do all have a lot more in common, but if you and I had passed each other smoking cigarettes, I don't think we would have been like, oh, hey, bro, what brand,
Right.
what brand? Do you want to join my cigarette community? We're all, but it's different. It's different with vaping, and you feel like you've accomplished something. Like, you quit too? I quit too. Cool, we're bros now.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know if I missed that. It seems like, over the past few years, you don't see vaping in the wild as I don't see it out in the wild as much. So every now and then when I see like a plume of vapor come out somebody's car window, it's like, oh, we're still out there,
There are dozens of us. Yeah. Yeah. I see a lot when I was in Europe and Switzerland and Germany, there's lots of people using disposables there.
Mm.
But when I came back to America and Los Angeles, it's just a lot of smoking. People still are smoking lots of cigarettes. I see cigarette smokers whenever I leave the house. Almost you see cigarette smokers. They're still at concrete ashtrays outside of Ralph's, and people stand outside and smoke cigarettes. Still a lot of cigarette smoking, and every time I see that, I think, man, we just have so much more to go, so much farther to go. Gosh, we just have so much farther to go.
If only they could get some sort of vote of confidence from public health officials that switching to vaping would save their lives and
if
help
only
them avoid years of suffering.
Even if FDA just said, try vaping, like 2 words, try vaping, I think that would go a really long way, and it would be so simple. And I'm not asking them to, I'm not asking for apologies or a revamped PMTA process. I'm not asking for a lot. Just tell people about it. Try vaping.
Yeah.
It'd be so easy. They could accomplish so much. Rampex Gaming. They could accomplish so much. Hey, listen, I appreciate you guys being here. Congratulations to that first recipient. I mean, that's a good, that's a dang hell-ass good prize. The popcorn lung thing, yeah. But you still hear popcorn lung. It's like you still hear EVALI, you still hear popcorn lung. Harvard, there was a whole thing about it. Filter Magazine just released a great piece about the whole popcorn lung debacle with Harvard, and Harvard didn't care to comment when asked for a comment from the author. That's crazy. That's crazy. I didn't ban you. Nobody banned you. I don't think I banned you. Yeah, they're not reasonable. I don't know. It seems like they're not reasonable, but I feel like politicians are just people. Right? They have to be, I don't know. They have to listen to reason. I don't know. You'd think so.
It doesn't happen often enough, but there are definitely
like
lawmakers who they have, family members or friends they know who quit by switching. My first appearance in front of a legislative committee, I think, was in 2014 in New Jersey, and we had, Governor Christie was proposing tax parity. It was going to be like a 75%. I don't know if it was a wholesale tax or just a tax.
Yeah.
And there is no tax, as we were discussing at the top of the hour. It's very difficult for people to figure out how to make a tax equivalency. And I had 5 minutes. I had pages of testimony. I was reading like I was an auctioneer. And when I got finished, the chairman of the committee, I think Henry Scheer, he pulled out a SIG-alike, or I don't know, it might have been it was a small device. It could have been an ego. I don't know. And he held it up and he's like, I hear where you're coming from. And, I'm cutting down on smoking by using this too. And so that was huge. And he was a Democrat, is a Democrat. And so that was surprising, how politicized this has become. It was surprising and a bit relieving to see.
Yeah.
And so, when any of these folks have friends, family members, or themselves experience switching away from smoking, they tend to have a lot more empathy. And, we've seen this with people in public health. Cliff Douglas from formerly the American Cancer Society is now at the head of Foundation for a Smoke-Free World.
Yeah.
And
that's crazy. Like it might not seem like that big a deal, but I feel like if you've been in this space for any amount of time and you know who Cliff Douglas is, and it's a big deal. If you know what Foundation for a Smoke-Free World is or was, it's kind of a big deal. And I admire the shit out of Cliff's just steadfastness and determination to correct all this. And the spectrum of harm, the idea of presenting people with a spectrum of harm and that the reality of the spectrum of harm existing, I really like it. I'm a big fan. fan, and it's a big deal, and it gives a lot of credibility, I think, to the foundation.
Yeah, and they need that coming off of being fully funded by Philip Morris, which if you're from our perspective, Philip Morris and other tobacco companies absolutely should be funding efforts like that.
Yeah.
This goes, the money that they're giving over to states, or the money that states are collecting through the Master Settlement Agreement, that money, first of all, most of it does not go toward any type of tobacco control programs.
No.
The tobacco control programs that they do fund are pretty underwhelming, and are a lot of, some of that money has been used to, I assume, I don't have, the paper trail to prove it, but, when we see education campaigns coming out of states, some of the misleading information that they're promoting about vaping is being funded by money they get through the MSA disbursements. So, if the money that's being extracted from consumers isn't going to help consumers, then tobacco companies sort of end up with an obligation to fund campaigns and, centers of excellence or whatever that are actually doing things that help consumers, help their customers.
Yeah.
And that means switching away from their, deadly cigarettes.
Yeah. Well, hang on. I got to write this name down. I don't want to forget the winner. That happened one time. I did a contest, and like 2 days after the stream was over, there was just a box sitting there, and I have no record of who won it. The emails, So I'm trying to. Alex, here's the thing. Out of all of these calls to actions, I don't want to say what's the most important, but I feel like Michigan is really kind of one of the worst with what they're trying. They're just doing a PMTA registry, right? I'm scared for Florida, and I'm scared for Michigan.
Where do I have Michigan? I don't have Michigan on my handy little notes here.
You don't?
And I'm just going to go right to our website and see what I have up. It's very easy for me to lose track of this stuff. So Michigan has, as I've described it, a raft of anti-vaping legislation.
Raft.
And this is what they've been doing over the years. On our call to action for Michigan, we don't have all the list of bills here, but in the pre-written email, you can see what we're looking at. There's 3 bills that we're mostly concerned about: SB 647, 648, and 649. I think broadly, these are going to reduce people's access. I'd have to look each one of these up individually and tell you which one do what. But this has been multi-year, multi-session effort on behalf of the antis in Michigan to usually it's like 4 or 5 bills, maybe even more. They've been doing this weird stuff where things are tie-barred to one. So like if one bill doesn't pass, then something else doesn't take effect in another bill. They're all sort of interdependent on one another to take effect.
Whoa.
It's confusing and seems unnecessary, but
standard practice?
In a state, I think Michigan may have a single subject rule. So, one bill deals with one subject. People talk about, like regulating milk versus regulating orange juice. You can't do that in the same bill because they're both very different types of beverages. So I don't quite know all the rules in Michigan, but it's concerning in Michigan this year because it's that process of basically just, gradually grinding opposition down to the point where they come around and say, okay, fine, I'll just vote for this crap. So yeah, if you're in Michigan,
grind them down.
Make sure you're a CASAA member, and we'll update this as we go. Nobody's tapped me on the shoulder just yet to say that these are moving and we need to be very concerned about things. Mark Sliss is in Michigan and one of the few people who's, actually doing the work there. Just across all states, all of this is important for CASAA members and anybody who wants to be a CASAA member, which is absolutely free, to get involved, because the state trade associations have lost their ability to fund themselves to some extent. There's still a few that are operating. Maybe they're not operating at the same capacity they were pre-pandemic or pre-2019, pre-2016, implementing all of the FDA rules, took out a bunch of manufacturers. And these are companies that were able to fund state legislative efforts. So it is really, it's more important now than ever that consumers, get involved and share their stories. And part of our story, by the way, for anybody, I'm sort of, on the fly responding to some weird criticism that we've gotten over the years or recently even. Sure. I think there are some people who believe that CASAA doesn't support, the small independent businesses or anything like that. First of all, we're not a trade association. We don't actually speak on behalf of your business. We're here for your customers. Yep. And, to my point, our relationship with your shops is a very important part of our story. And, when we were talking about, meeting other people in recovery through this experience, the vape shop is that safe space where we can come together and have friends and feel supported for quitting smoking, which is very important when we talk about any kind of recovery from substance use disorder, is having that support network. So if that's part of your story, and I imagine for a lot of people it is, I think, to me, that's one of the most purest and important emotional hooks that we have. And it's one of the, I think it's one of, and from a public health perspective, it's got to be one of the strongest arguments for keeping small independent vape shops in business, because they're doing something that state quit lines can't replicate. Going to your doctor's office does not replicate that feeling of support. And being bombarded with anti-smoking, anti-nicotine messaging on the TV and radio, or on your social medias, that doesn't provide anybody any support or confidence or warm fuzzy feelings about quitting smoking.
Nope.
But we in the vape are very, very worth protecting.
Yeah, I agree. Very, very, very worth protecting. Worth protecting. We need to fund CASAA. We do. Look, I'll always be a cheerleader of CASAA. Oh, look, Jim McDonald stopped by. Oh, thank you so much, Jim McDonald. From Jim McDonald. I can't stick around, but I want to thank Nick for everything he's done to help CASAA for 15 years now.
How about that?
Yeah. And I don't want to say here's to another 15, because I'm not one of these activists that this is all I ever want to do forever. I want to come to a point that I think would be a great place to come to, where it's like, hey, there's no calls to actions for flavor bans because there's no flavor bans. I would like this to eventually come to a conclusion, And I don't, you don't want to have to do this forever, but it's important to do this forever. That's the reason that we're doing the stream. It's the reason that we're doing any contest. Let's do another one. By the way, 4 p.m. sounds great. Perfect time for a contest. 4:02. That's what I've heard is the perfect time for a contest. And the reason that we're doing it, like I said, we're trying to fund CASAA. We're trying to get CASAA funded. I recently set up a reoccurring payment to CASAA, which is something for some reason I hadn't done in years past. We've done plenty of fundraisers for CASAA, but they need to be funded. I will always speak very highly of CASAA. They allow us to do things that we as consumers otherwise wouldn't get to do. Like Red was pointing out, in Norway, there ain't no CASAA. So you're not going to get an email that says there's a Norwegian flavor ban coming and here's a call to action and here's your legislators' phone numbers and emails, and call them and email them and tell them your story and, X, Y, and Z, like giving us essentially the tools to fight for our own rights and the rights of others. Damn, hell ass. Of course, that's something I want to support, Of course, that's something I want to support. Let's do a little bit. We'll do a little bit easier of a question. Thank you, Ern. Ern's always in there. Let me do a little bit of.
While you're administering the contest, I'm gonna step away and fill up my water glass.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's important to stay hydrated. We are a fan of being hydrated here on this channel. Good questions, though. I feel like a few people just got onto Spotify and started listing clutch songs, which is, look, you guys, that's exactly what I would have done. For a billet box, of course I would have done that. No questions asked. No questions asked. Yeah, same in South Africa. Yeah. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. There are some advocacy organizations in lots of obviously different parts of the world. There's the coalition, CAFRA, which is the Asia Pacific area advocacy organization. There's all sorts of organizations.
Hey, I see we got Jeffrey Zamora.
Yeah. Cheers to all the advocates here and their immense effort to improve public health through harm reduction. You guys rock. Thank you.
Jeffrey is one of the international advocates doing the work.
Yeah. Yep. Just doing the work, grinding away. It's just grinding. And you get so... It's tedious and it's monotonous a little bit too, trying to get your point across and use deliberate, talking points, and every argument about vaping is different because I feel like there's like 12 different arguments that people use against vaping. Like, oh, vaping doesn't help you quit smoking. And you're like, okay, well, oh, vaping also does this. And you're like, okay, well, then here's a separate argument kind of for that side of it. Oh, well, these flavors are for kids. It's like, okay, well, here's a separate, even more separate, detached kind of argument for that type of thing. And there's too much nuance in this. It's not just like a good, bad thing, which is what we like. I think we like things distilled down into their simplest, should I do this or should I not? Or is this good or is this bad? And that's not what this is about. There's nuance here.
I feel like, or I want to believe, or maybe I should say I have some measure of faith that people are capable of appreciating nuance and complexity.
Yes.
But we're sort of, spoon-fed the duality of things, the polarized, depiction of our politics and so on. And it's really not. It's if there's anything that I've learned from doing this, it's that, as the public, what we're exposed to on the nightly news is polarizing, and it is that sort of black and white portrayal of right and wrong. Mm-hmm. But where the real decisions are being made, not in committee hearings, not on television, there are adults discussing things and discussing complexity. And I don't know how we end up with such crappy policies, but I think the public is capable of understanding these things, and I don't think we give ourselves enough credit, honestly. And for all of the sort of conspiracy theory minded people out there, that are digging through, I don't know, resorting to like numerology to prove their point or whatever, like the amount of effort it takes to dig into things like that, it's the same amount of effort it takes to, look at the facts of an issue.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Yep. And you know what? You're right. There is room for nuance, and I think people get it. And did you hear read the transcript of the parliamentary discussion about the World Health Organization, about COP10?
No, I haven't.
There was a big parliamentary discussion essentially about what is the UK going to do about World Health Organization and COP10. And there was a lot of discussion and nuance and people talking about, well, how do we do this? And how do we prove that we're being responsible with colors and flavors and things like that? But also, we don't want to let World Health get in the way of us getting to a smoke-free society, and we're going to do it our way. And how do we how do we quantify this with giving so much money to World Health Organization? What happens at COP10 when delegates, and there was a lot of nuance and a lot of, like, you're right, adults discussing it.
Yeah.
And I mean, just even reading that gave me some hope and nuance. And look, it's a hell of a thing. You want to do another contest? Yeah, we do. All right. I'll do this one just because, and here, I'll put a type 2 in there as well. But this one does not have a billet box, but the third one will have a billet box. This one doesn't have a billet box, maybe because I feel like it's a little bit easier of a question. Because it's, I don't know, we'll see. But this box contains a Rebirth RDA from My Vapes, a Goon 25 millimeter RDA, a pair of 2700s. So this is really hobbyist vape stuff. I'm glad to see the hobbyist vapors here. Rebirth RDA, a Goon 25 millimeter, a pair of 2700 Sherlock Ohms from Ohm Life Ohm Tech, a COG RTA, a Purple OG recoil, a Russian Custom Mods Bonneville, a Reload E, and a Type 2. That's too many things that you could even vape at one time. That's like a reviewer's worth of vape gear in a single box, and that's kind of bananas. Contest at GrimmGreen.com. Thank you, Ern, for that. Contest at GrimmGreen.com. Answer in the subject line. One guess only, please. No spamming answers. Or more than one. You can maybe answer one. But try not to spam. Contest at GrimmGreen.com for the box that I just described. Do you want proof of life? Okay. Here's is the Bonneville, which I think is a very slick mech mod. I don't know if you ever rocked a mech mod, Alex Clark.
Back in the day.
I think this is a pretty mech mod. It looks like an old piston from a car. It's called the Bonneville. Yeah. It's got hand feel literally for days. It's a beautiful mech. Beautiful mech. RCM makes great stuff. So that's proof of life. Yeah, it's proof of life. So.
Do they still make Pontiac Bonnevilles?
I don't think so. Is Pontiac still a company? They still make Pontiacs? My wife drove a Pontiac for a while.
I gotta look this up now.
Yeah, we need to fact check Pontiac. Okay, so the question is, everybody get your email fingers ready. The question is, how many hexohms are on my shelf?
Oh, man.
How many? Not how many hexohms do I own? Not how many hexohms am I using? It's how many hexohms are on my shelf. Right over here, right next to my failing soundboard. How many hexohms are on the shelf? The first correct answer wins. And I'm just sitting here in my inbox, just waiting. How many hexohms are on my shelf? In fact, I'm going to double count. I'm going to double check my count. Yep. First correct answer wins.
I have.
That's it. You're not going to believe it. There's a winner already. And on that note, everybody just go throw some cash at CASAA. Just whatever spare leftover cash you have, set aside $20 to fight for your rights and the rights of others, which CASAA allows us to do. There's a winner.
I have one hexome, by the way.
You have a hexome?
It was a gift. I got it from Corey Vigil in Colorado when we were on the vape tour in 2016.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Did you ever use it?
Oh yeah, I used it for
okay.
A solid couple of years. It was my all day device.
There's a winner. Okay, there's a winner. That was quick. That was the quickest I've ever seen a contest be won. There is a correct answer, and that was like the quickest I have ever seen a contest be won. It was literally the third response. Hang on. Now there's pages and pages that I have to go back through because it's easy to just type a number, It's like, clicks. So there is a winner. Hang on, let me go back to the page. It was literally the third entrant. The correct answer, 9 hexomes on my display shelf. I have 9 hexomes I feel are worth displaying. And the winner, where is he? It's Seamus. I think it's Seamus. McD. I believe this is the wee baby. Is this the wee baby? Or is this the great? It's either the wee baby Seamus or the great Seamus. It's one of the Shamai. It's either the great baby or the great baby. The great Seamus or the wee baby Seamus. Or a completely different Seamus. Could be a completely different Seamus. 9.
Mystery.
9. Danielle Jones.
Hey, there we go.
Danielle Jones.
CASAA's fearless president.
It's funny. I was going through this morning like a bunch of my old audios and videos to put together like a 5-minute hold screen, and then I was just going to use a little news and advocacy intro, something for the Alex Clark stream. And I used the old hold screen for TBN, the music, and it was like such a throwback. And I was going through my TBN folder, and I had all these TBN, the stream I used to do with Danielle. I had all these TBN graphics still, and all of these like pictures that we took together so that we could use them on thumbnails. It was like I was feeling all kinds of nostalgia. All kinds of nostalgia, Danielle Jones. All kinds of nostalgia. Happy to see your face. So yeah, let's get some donations going to CASAA. You guessed 18. Total, I think I really only have like 14. 13 or 14 hexomes, and I have 9 out that are like my favorite 9 hexomes. Yeah, so many TBN feels, Danielle Jones. So many TBN feels. That was a really fun, great stream that we had for a while. I liked it. And yeah, we used the hold music for today's stream. Yeah.
Which, by the way, that intro inspired CASAA's hold music for our live stream.
Oh, did it really? Oh, nice. Oh, okay. So you got like a telephone hold screen.
It's that kind of lo-fi recording vibe, and then at the end you can hear like someone's pressing the button on the tape deck, kind of thing.
I like it.
We like your style, man.
Lo-fi, man. Yeah, it's cool. It's just a bunch of hippies, Just a bunch of hippies trying to change the world. Yeah, 9 hexomes. Only 9 hexomes. In fact, I'm going to write Seamus's name down on this note. I don't know if this is Sea Moose or the Great Seamus. I still don't know.
I think I saw the Great Seamus comment that they were very happy about winning. Yeah.
Okay, well,
Thank you, everyone.
I've
Best of
emailed
luck to the rest of the
Seamus
time.
back. I emailed the Seamus back. So, yep. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to leave this up here. Great Seamus. Go donate to CASAA. Like this stream. You don't even have to like this stream. You can just go donate money to CASAA. Yo, Cemetery Gates. I appreciate you guys being here, hanging out. We're going to do some... I think this is not Sea Moose. This is the Great. The Great Seamus. So, Alex Clark from CASAA. It's only January. We already have like 19 calls to actions. And the legislative season really hasn't even really started ramping up. Can we expect just a barge of bad legislation this year for the U.S.? Or do you think some states will get lucky and just it won't even care? Or, I mean, what's your prediction? Predict this year.
Well, I have a list on somebody's well-funded intel for all of the states looking at PMTA registry bills. Let's see, and some of them we've already got engagements up for. I don't know what New York already has. You know, its ban is in place. There's a bill moving in New Jersey. I'm not exactly sure what that's about. We're also dealing with the menthol ban at FDA's thing. That for political reasons, that's being delayed by the Biden administration, it sounds like. Confidence in that being finalized this year has gone down.
Yeah. And there was just a big march for that. A bunch of people were marching in front of the White House with Newport boxes, and they really want that menthol ban. I don't know who was out there, but someone really wants it.
Just to take the opportunity to clarify, CASAA's position on this is, we're not out here to defend access to cigarettes, but, if FDA is going to do something like ban menthol, then they need to authorize more products and flavors other than tobacco, particularly menthol.
Yeah.
There is, research coming out there's research that is out showing in places where menthol is banned, access to mint or menthol vapor products is helpful in helping people transition. And we also have to factor in illicit markets. A lot of the antis will downplay the effect that these prohibitions have on growing illicit markets. But they do. It's just, that's just how it works, right?
Yeah.
You make a product that people want illegal, and they still want the product. The demand doesn't really go away.
Nope.
Not in the way that they are, fantasizing about. And so, the same people that are selling, counterfeit Adderall and whatever else, and replacing opioid medication with fentanyl, and people don't know what they're taking. Yep. Those same people are going to start stocking menthol cigarettes, and they don't check IDs. They don't care. They're just there to sell product. So there are other questions of public health that come in when we talk about a menthol ban. So that's relevant to anybody who cares about vaping and tobacco harm reduction, is that we want these alternative products available. At the same time, states are now taking it upon themselves to act where the FDA is not acting. And that was some of the sentiment expressed in Vermont this week in some of their last minute invitation only committee hearings, in that, FDA isn't acting fast enough. And so the states have to pick up the slack and actually go above and beyond what FDA is doing. FDA has what we refer to as a de facto flavor ban, but it is not an expressly, it's not codified a flavor ban. And so states, on the other hand, are going beyond what FDA is charged with, and making their own data and science-free conclusions about banning flavors. So the PMTA registry bills are absolutely part of this. So I'll get back to the list. We're looking at seeing these bills introduced, and some of them we've already had calls to action for them. So Vermont, there is, I think, one in Vermont right now, but the flavor ban is taking up a lot of the attention. Connecticut, Montana, Minnesota, Colorado, which has a flavor ban that we're watching. New Mexico, Washington has its bill out. Oregon, Ohio, we're on the verge of overturning a veto in Ohio. If you're in Ohio, definitely take action. We want this veto overridden. We don't get to vote in the affirmative very often, so this is one of those times we get to support people on a yes vote. Yes, override Governor DeWine's veto. This supports preemption, the state level regulations. This would undo the flavor ban in Columbus, Ohio. So that needs to happen. And then, of course, we've seen a couple of states off of this list. Kansas has a bill. I haven't been able to track down a bill number yet. Indiana, we just put out a call to action for Indiana. There's a vape registry bill there. And Florida, of course, was not on this list, but came out of the gate swinging this year.
Yeah.
And Florida is interesting. I think, some of the intel that we've received is that lawmakers don't actually know what they're supporting with this. They don't understand. And these bills are being promoted by a tobacco company. This is not something coming from Campaign for Tobacco for Kids or all the body parts groups. This is a tobacco company that has received authorization for their products, and this is their way of looking good. This is their way of looking good in front of the regulator. We're taking action to clear the marketplace of illegal products, blah blah blah, and also sort of cornering the market and ensuring that they have a very large market share of legal vape products for sale. So it's not helpful when officials do it. It's definitely not helpful when tobacco companies do it. Trading public health for big business profits and tax revenue is something we should all stand up against. So
yeah, 1,000% we should stand up against that. Good Lord. That makes me so mad. It's like just that kills me. That kills me hard. It feels like these PMTA registry bills it feels lazy. I don't know of another way to say it. It feels like the state just doesn't want to bother and go, well, whatever the FDA says is good can be sold here. And we don't want to fuck with it. Who cares about whatever else? We don't want, we don't want to have a flavor ban. We don't want to have this. We don't want to have, we don't want to have all this separate nonsense legislation for our state. Just whatever the feds say.
Well, this is something that I know that CASAA has talked about over the past 10 years. I know, you could probably go back and look through, if anybody wants to comb through Carl Phillips, his blog, Anti-THR Lies. Carl Phillips, by the way, used to be on CASAA's board. He's an epidemiologist. He's been working on tobacco research, policy issues, and so on for decades. He's sort of one of the OG tobacco harm reduction supporters. Yeah. One of the things that he, I know, has expressed, I don't know if Clive Bates has written about this a lot. I'm sure he has. Anybody who's been, experienced in policy, at least, on this issue, understands the FDA just doesn't have the human power to enforce their regulations, not in any way that resembles efficiency. And so we've always known that FDA wasn't going to handle this themselves. They're going to partner, the way that we thought about it was they are going to partner with county and state health departments in order to, change laws, and then those local authorities will pick up the enforcement torch. And so this is probably a more efficient way for states to do it, to just say, okay, anything that has received marketing orders from FDA is illegal, and there are going to be fines and penalties and so on. And it may or may, it really depends on how many resources states are willing to devote to this. An example of what I'm talking about is in DC. DC has a flavor ban, but there's no funding to enforce it.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
So this could play out a couple of different ways, but I think, what we really want states to do is stand up, push back against these bad regulations, and protect people's access to safer products.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Just pure and simple. Look, harm reduction is a human right. I don't see why that's a controversial thing. If there's something that's harmful to people and that's something that they do, and they would like to do that in a less harmful way, we should be encouraging that. Period. I mean, I don't know. It's like such a basic, simple concept of harm reduction, and then people just don't understand it.
I think, one of the most important conversations that needs to come out of all of this is conversations about risk and the risk continuum. And, we don't benefit. It doesn't matter what the issue is. The public doesn't benefit from being kept in the dark. And, what the people with their fingers on the light switch, they just want us to accept whatever, dogma they're pushing. And they've moved the goalpost from it being smoking to nicotine. And now they're trying to draw these associations between, nicotine and harm and smoking related harms that have not been found in vaping. Researchers out there cooking their numbers and all of this stuff. But none of that helps us make intelligent, healthier decisions about the products that we're consuming. And I'm a proponent of expanding this conversation. This isn't just a conversation about tobacco and nicotine. This is about all drugs. We have watched absolutely failed drug policy kill people for more than 50 years. And there's no reason to believe that, dropping the ban hammer any harder is going to improve public health.
No.
It's just a human thing. There's a percentage of us who are going to seek out mind-altering experiences, whether it's as simple as a cup of coffee or complex as, heroin or other drugs. Fentanyl, but especially in the case of fentanyl, people need to know what they're taking. People need to understand 100%. These basic concepts of set and setting. Most people who use drugs do so in a way that doesn't interfere with their lives. It isn't wrecking their health. And so all of that education is necessary, and we have all of that education about nicotine and tobacco. So there's no reason keeping people in the dark about this. And I think that people are capable of understanding complex things. And I think it's a bit demoralizing to think that people in public health with their lab coats and their fancy degrees are looking down their noses at all of us plebes because, we don't understand every stitch of a journal article.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. But it's not difficult to understand harm reduction though. I mean, I might not understand every, paragraph of a medical journal study, but I know what harm reduction is, and I know that less harm is always better than more harm.
Yeah.
Always, I think, in every situation, I think less harm is better than more harm.
That seems to be the case.
You'd love to believe that. All right. Well, let's do the last giveaway. I mean, it's going to be a hell of a year for legislation. It's going to be a hell of a year for PMTAs, and we've got FDA getting a not favorable ruling from the Fifth Circuit Court, and it appears that Brian King from FDA has no interest in correcting anything from the judgment that was handed down. So it looks like it's probably going to go to the Supreme Court, which is kind of crazy. And that's one of the components, in my opinion, of these PMTA registry bills, where if we're relying on the PMTA registry bills, but then the entire process is deemed arbitrary and capricious, well, then what?
There should be there's no justification or any real incentive for states to defer to the federal standard on this.
Nope.
Because the federal standard is broken.
This federal standard has been already deemed arbitrary and capricious by the Fifth Circuit Court. And chances are it's going to go to the Supreme Court. I mean, that's bonkers that the FDA, I mean, it's honestly kind of cool. Like, if it weren't so depressing and awful and like pain in the ass to deal with and a constant source of stress and anxiety all the time, the idea that Vapetasia is taking FDA to the Supreme Court over these, that's peak America. You know, I don't know. That's like peak America, and I like that it's Vapetasia because Vapetasia's been down for the industry since they've ever existed. It's like Vapetasia's Killer Custard has been a staple for ex-smokers for years, for years and years and years. And now it's Vapetasia who's, kind of leading the charge, the subsidiary or whatever, Vapetasia Triton Distribution. I think the only prediction that I've ever made that may come true is that vaping will come down to lawsuits in the United States. Everywhere else, it might be committees or legislation and I don't know, whatever scientific or, advocacy and laws will get passed. But in America, it's just going to be lawsuits. Everything. You're going to have to sue your way onto the market, I think.
Just another barrier. That's the American way, right? Like that's why we have the judicial system, and because laws are not perfect and they need to be argued.
Yep.
But again, that's a huge financial barrier to entry to be able to afford that lawsuit.
I know.
People have sort of come at us and been like, "Why aren't you suing this and that?" And it's like, we don't have that kind of money.
What money? Like, we're trying to raise funds on GrimmGreen's YouTube channel.
Yeah,
we can't afford to sue the FDA.
I think I saw those boxes. Earn was posting Vapetasia advertises CASAA on their e-liquid boxes. Mm-hmm. I think some folks have just gone and done that, which is great. We always want to check and make sure that it doesn't look like we're like endorsing products.
Right.
We don't do that. But every bit of exposure that companies can give their customers to, CASAA, it's more people. We always need more people picking up the phone, sending emails, trying to, even if you're not going to get a meeting with your lawmaker, just trying to schedule it shows them that you care. Yeah. Be registered to vote, and then vote. And then, call them and say, I vote, I dislike your support of this law. And that's as simple as it can be. And the more people we have, the more effective we are. This is not, I think sometimes a lot of people expect an organization to do all of the heavy lifting, but for us, it's about engaging people. That is our heavy lifting, is making sure people are aware of what's happening in their states and their towns. But we don't do this by ourselves. We need your participation. Mm-hmm. So thank you for Vapetasia to putting the word out. Thank you to any other, all of the other, shops and manufacturers who've done the same. And it's up to your customers then to follow through.
More money.
But and yes, the donations.
Look, it's just the world that we live in. Everything takes money. Everything costs money. If we want CASAA to exist, we have to make sure that CASAA exists. And I want CASAA to exist. I think a lot of us want CASAA to exist. And and I hope that gets reflected in some donations. I'd love to think that the Grimm Green community or the Grimm Army is as gracious and giving as I think they are, but we gotta.
It's happening. I'm seeing notifications coming through. So thank you.
Something. Let's do the last. Let's do the last box here, and I'll just read you what's inside. I'll just read you what's going to be inside. But it's going to be green OG recoil RDA, original recipe. Another Robin's Egg Rev 4 billet box. A Torin Max RDTA. A Mob V1. A Squy RDA. And a Limitless V2 mech. And I'm throwing maybe some liquids, maybe some coils into literally all of these boxes as well. So it's a green OG recoil, a billet box Rev 4 Robin's Egg, a Torin Max RDTA, a Mob V1, a Squy RDA, and a Limitless V2 mech. That's pretty sick. That's a damn hell ass good box if you ask me. This one, I don't love this question, but we're just gonna go with it. I don't love this question, but we're gonna go with it. I think only patrons would know this, although I have publicly, and not even just on Facebook, on Facebook and Twitter and all of my social medias, I've talked about this. It's a Star Wars related question. It's a Star Wars related question because Star Wars. Because hashtag Star Wars. So, Seamus, you have not emailed me back yet. Oh, yeah, you did. Never mind. Ha 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 ha. Chef Seamus. Congratulations, Chef Seamus. That's a damn hell ass good box. All right, let's prepare the inbox. This is another one of those first correct answer wins. Okay, I got my 2 winners. Great. Perfect. Perfection. All right. Well, thank you, Alex Clark, for swinging by. We're going to do this last box. I hope some people donated to CASAA. We need to fund CASAA, and even if you set up a small reoccurring donation, I think that goes a long way.
The small recurring donations are great, and it helps us feel confident that we can keep the lights on. So
we need to keep the lights on.
Great.
Pure and simple, we need to keep the lights on. I agree. I'll never I'll always be a cheerleader for CASAA. I think you know that. I think I've said that at least 1 trillion times to everybody at CASAA individually.
You're the reason why I'm here, honestly. You were my first exposure to CASAA.
I've heard this story. I love this story. Yeah, just because of old GrimmGreen. But yeah, and we gained an Alex Clark who's a tireless advocate who writes things like raft of bad legislation in Michigan, who's in charge of these calls to actions, And like he said, we're close. What did you say? You're close to overturning it in Ohio? Overturning a veto?
Overturning a veto. Just to fill in the blanks, Governor DeWine vetoed, sort of a line item veto of a provision in the budget bill that would have made all tobacco regulations have to happen at the state level.
Oh.
And right now, municipalities can pass their own, regulations and laws, and that's why flavors are banned in Columbus and some other cities. So if this veto gets overturned, those flavor bans go away.
Go away flavor bans. Nice. Shit, yeah. Who needs the lights? Yeah, CASAA does. Okay. Get your email and fingers ready because you could win an OG recoil, a Rev 4 billet box, a Torin Max RDTA, a Mob V1, a Squy RDA, and a Limitless V2 mech. All in the same box. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All for yourself or share it around. But send your answers to contest@grimmgreen.com. Put your answer in the subject line. Let me go over to my inbox. First correct answer wins. Hang on, I need to think about this. What is my second favorite Star Wars movie? Second favorite Star Wars movie. First correct answer wins. Go. What's my second favorite Star Wars movie? Second favorite Star Wars movie. Have we done this trivia question before? I don't think we've ever done this trivia question before. What's my second favorite Star Wars movie? Second favorite. My second favorite. I think that would be huge to overturn a flavor ban in Ohio, personally.
I don't know the landscape, but it would be great to overturn any and all municipal anti-vaping laws in Ohio, which is what happens. I think there's more than a dozen municipalities that have passed or are entertaining flavor ban stuff, sales bans, stuff like that. And so this would take care of all of that in one fell swoop.
Fell swoop. Speaking of fell swoop, there is a winner. This one wouldn't take that long. I knew it wasn't going to take that long. We had one trivia question on a vlog like 2 months ago that was like 20 minutes. It was like 15 minutes of nobody got it right yet. And I want to give this away, so someone better guess this right. There's a winner. There's a winner. There's a winner. Well done, everybody. Well done. It happened pretty fast. It's already moved to the second page. But the correct answer... Hang on. Let me email this person back. Let me email this person back. The correct answer... Do you want to take a guess, Alex Clark? What's my second favorite Star Wars movie?
Well, I'm biased because I know what my top Star Wars movie is, but I'm going to go with some of the answers in chat and say it was Empire.
Oh, that's very good. That's the correct answer. That is the correct answer. It's my second favorite Star Wars movie, Empire Strikes Back.
Is your first? Can I guess your first?
Maybe.
I am guessing that your first favorite is probably similar to mine, which would be Rogue One.
No, but I love Rogue One. I love Rogue One. My favorite Star Wars movie, and this is, I mean, I've spent more time thinking about this than I should, really, because it's just Star Wars. But I have a Star Wars ranking chart. Hang on, let me try to grab this out. I'm going to try to find this on my computer. I update my Star Wars ranking chart roughly every like 6 months or so, or whenever I watch. Oh, I can't find it. Oh, man. Oh, I wish I could find this. My number one Star Wars movie that I love, that's my favorite Star Wars movie, is Return of the Jedi.
Oh.
It's just so good. It's great. I like the Emperor. I think it's like prime Vader. He's just big and menacing and shiny. He's just prime Vader. You know, I don't know. It's all nostalgia, though, because it was the first Star Wars movie that I got to see in the theater. I was old enough to see Return of the Jedi in the theater after wearing out the tapes of, Empire Strikes Back and Star Wars at home, and then getting to see Return of the Jedi in the theater was like, it's just stuck with me. And I love Jedi. I love Return of the Jedi. I love the dancing Ewoks at the end. It's just so wholesome and peace brought to the galaxy, and it's great. It's got a great ending, and I love it. It's Return of the Jedi. But I wish I could find my Star Wars rankings because Rogue One is up there.
Yeah. Rogue One is how all Star Wars stories should be told, I think. And Andor, as far as like streaming and TV series go, Andor was fantastic.
I agree. Andor was surprisingly good. I went to a Star Wars celebration. Oh, the last time I updated this was May 2020?
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. Here it is. This is a no updated version. That's crazy. That's unbelievable. Sorry, what was I saying? I don't know.
Star Wars Celebration.
Oh, it's Star Wars Celebration. They kept teasing us. It's like, who's ready for the new trailer for the Andor series? And everyone's like, kinda. I guess. They're really trying to hype up Andor. They're like, it's, Andor. And we're kind of like, Andor? Cassian Andor gets his own series? That's weird. But then it turned out amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, hang on. I have to save another copy of it. I take this very seriously. My Star Wars chart. If I have a stormtrooper tattooed on my throat, I feel like I have to take this seriously.
Yeah.
Here, so this is the most updatedest chart.
You do
So
take this seriously.
Here. So yeah.
Wow,
so
you got like
best thing ever. Return of the Jedi, Empire Strikes Back. I know, and then The Last Jedi is really good. Rogue One, Solo, all the way down. I don't enjoy the prequels. I think Episode 2 and Episode 3 are legitimately like just borderline like unwatchable to me. The dialogue is so bad. I can't really stand it. But I think Star Wars Episode 1 is objectively the best of the prequels. So I don't hate it. I don't really like it. It's complicated. It's a thing. Then that's it. And there's no other ones I'm missing. Okay. Still pretty great, being pretty generous. Episode 9 I thought was really, really bad. Like quite bad.
Is it The Rise of Skywalker? Is it the last one?
It was The Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Was Skywalker.
It's kind of epic. It's exhausting to watch, but
so I didn't announce the winner. I'm sorry. I didn't announce the winner. We just got into Star Wars. The answer yep. Tim's in Sweden. Yeah. Of all of the countries that you could live in, I can absolutely ship vape stuff to Sweden. No questions asked. I might need we'll see how much the shipping costs to Sweden, Tim. The winner was Tim. Tim F. I don't know if he made himself known in the chat at all, but Tim F won. He's in Sweden. If we can't get this to you in Sweden, I'm just going to surprise the next person that said Empire Strikes Back. And I don't know exactly who that was, but they're still all listed in my emails. So if we can't get this to Tim in Sweden rather, then we'll go to the second correct answer. But I think we can. I think we can get you to Sweden. Get it to Sweden. Right on. Yeah. Send me the details in the mail. Congratulations. Thank you for being here. I hope everybody has, considered donating to CASAA. And if you can't do it today, do it soon. And if you can't do it soon, do it in a week or, do it in a month. Just make sure it happens. And we got to keep CASAA funded. Like I said, I finally set up a recurring payment, and that's honestly just a relief off of my shoulders because I don't even need to think about it. And I go, yes, I'm confident it's some of the best donation money that I spend. The only other people I donate to are, the local Los Angeles homeless organization, but it's specifically for unhoused people with pets, like with dogs, so they can get like dog food and toys and whatever stuff. So homeless dogs, come on, homeless dogs in CASAA. That's where I want to give my money. Yeah, 2 piece in a pod. Homeless dogs in CASAA. So, thanks. Whoa.
We disappeared.
Whoa. That was bizarre. Sorry about that. But I want to say thank you, Alex Clark from CASAA, for not just coming here today. That's the easy part. For all your hard work and your steadfastness and your dedication to harm reduction and to, it's such a selfless thing, I think, trying to defend the rights of others. And it's cool. Like I said, it's cool. And what CASAA does is noble. And we got to support CASAA. We just have to. I'm going to always be a cheerleader for CASAA. Go buy a CASAA t-shirt. Sure, go buy a CASAA hoodie. Donate to CASAA. Yeah. We're going to end it probably, like right now. I wasn't sure how long we were going to go. I just didn't want to interrupt the green room, and I know they're starting in about 10 minutes, so I wanted to give us some wiggle room there. So if you're here now, hey, go check out Frames Janklin Vapor. They're doing the stream in the green room, and it's good. You should do a Star Wars vlog sometime. Just have a waffle with a couple of friends and bevs and some Ringo, I'd be super down for that. I'll find the Star Warsiest of the Star Wars people. Maybe we just get Alex and Danielle Jones. We could just start... I don't know. There's no bridge between Star Wars and vaping. Star Wars and harm reduction.
I think there is. There's an evil empire and all that stuff, and
Sure,
we're
sure.
we're kind of the scrappy rebel alliance.
We are really
It's
scrappy
direct
rebels, yeah.
parallel. Yeah.
Okay. I get this. Yep. So there might be a forthcoming advocacy / Star Wars live stream. Sweden is
I'm here
very
for
vape
it.
friendly. Apathy Miller. Sweden is very vape friendly. They have no flavor bans. They've lowered all the taxes on all less harmful products. They tax based on the spectrum of harm. The most harmful stuff gets the most taxes, and the least harmful stuff gets the least taxes. And they just recently lowered their taxes again on things like snus and vaping.
And believe it or not,
no.
we have states here that have similar language. Kentucky being one of them.
Oh, Kentucky.
Yeah. But that was old language, looking at the difference between smokeless tobacco and cigarettes. So
Yeah.
but that concept does exist in statute, so shouldn't be too hard to get that in other states.
One
Fingers
would
crossed.
think.
Well, before any exits or outros, I do, of course, want to say thank you to you for having me on, and
It's my pleasure.
I'll just mention it again from the very beginning. You're the first person that introduced me to people who were doing advocacy in this space and motivated me to get involved. So I appreciate that, and thanks to everybody. I see a lot of familiar screen names floating through in chat. We'll see you on the CASAA live next weekend. Don't know what we're going to be talking about, but we'll figure something out. So thanks, guys, for continuing to participate in these things and show your support and talk about this. And thanks to everybody who donated. I don't have a final count, but people have been donating during this stream, and we appreciate it immensely. We can't do this without you, and that, of course, that means donations, but also in participation. And so for everybody who's strapped for cash or maybe on the fence about what we do, definitely check out our website, casaa.org. We've got a lot of resources that you can use. Maybe you're even on the fence about whether or not switching to vaping is good for you. We've got all the stuff that you need to read to help you, make up your decision. And our entire organization is made up of people who quit smoking by switching to vaping. So we're here to the bitter end, and we want to see this be successful, and we need all of you to do it. So thank you for showing up. Thanks for having us on, Nick.
Hell yeah. My pleasure, Alex.
I love doing this. It's great to talk to you anytime. So
yeah, I agree. I like chatting with you. I like having you on. I feel like we're pretty like-minded, and I appreciate that. And it's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure, Alex. And like I said, I pull no punches. I support CASAA into the ground. I will eternally support CASAA, and that's never going to change. I don't see that ever changing. They're doing good in the world, and I want to support them and promote them, and I feel like it's the least I could do. They do so much, and they allow us to do so much. So thank you again, Alex. Thank you to CASAA, all the board members of CASAA. Yep, all the board members. I had to second think. I'm like, all the board members? Really? Yeah, all the board members of CASAA. Great people. I've got a cream soda. Anyway,
nice.
Thanks, Alex. I appreciate it. And I don't really have an outro planned for this stream, so I'm just going to say goodbye. I'm going to say peace out, you guys. I'm going to say have a great night. There's no green room tonight. Apparently, Frames Jenkins' computer is broken, and that's a huge bummer. But there is the Friday Fallout on the Friday Fallout channel. If you want to watch the Friday Fallout, it's a pretty fun stream. Anthony Ramella does a good job over there. So peace out, everybody. Congrats to all the winners. And, fight for your rights. Fight for the rights of those around you. And, keep being excellent to each other. Okay? All right. I'm just going to end it awkwardly. We're going to wave like it's a parade. Goodbye.